We let everybody know,
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Hello, welcome to Paraversal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Known paranormal historian and ufologist Kevin Malik and psychic demonologist Jennifer Malik, as they navigate us through the different categories of the unknown and the unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, cryptids and monsters, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, metaphysics, forbidden archaeology, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, crimes, and corruption, with top analysis from the experts of these disciplines. If it's amazing, unusual, or mysterious, if it's bizarre, creepy, and fantastic, if it's unbelievable, paranormal, or supernatural, it's here on Paraversal Universe. Here are your hosts, Kevin and Jennifer.
Hello, everyone. Whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, welcome to Paraversal Universe, brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society Limited at the Northwoods Paranormal Resource Center here in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. We're your hosts, Kevin and Jennifer Malik.
Hey, everybody. What's up?
Paraversal Universe is produced by Kat Hobson, the voice of Fate Magazine Radio, over at WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We are also heard on WCET 101.7 FM out of Columbia, South Carolina, High Point Radio 100.5 FM and 1620 AM out of New Jersey, and the Rift Radio Network family out of Lakeside, Virginia. Welcome one and all, and hello to everyone in the chat room. We look forward to your questions and comments as always. The archive for the show will be available as well. Show archives from over the years can be found in various places on the web, including our archives like page on Facebook called Paraversal Universe Show Archives. Also check out our guest promo page, Paraversal Universe Radio, for what's upcoming in the near future. We hope everyone's doing well, as always. We are still waiting for spring. It's almost here, I think. We have an awesome show for you guys today. But first, let's do our shout-outs. Shout-outs go to those people who share our show banners this week. We always appreciate it greatly, and thank you kindly. Who do we have?
This week we have Walt Christos, Dots of Christos, Katrina Cooper, Rhodey Speak, Dennis Koch, Jason Bland, Paranormal Soup, Jamie Demlosh, JJ Paranormal, Metaphysical Bounce, Howie Odell from The Orion Effect,
Hello. Thank you so much. Thank you.
rest in peace.
Every so often we do a show dedicated to conspiracies, crimes, and corruption, which is one of the 8 categories we cover here on Paraversal Universe. Today, we are joined by conspiracy analyst and radio personality Riscalla Stephen, and we are expecting Angel Strong to be joining us shortly. They're from the Red Pill reality show. We've been guests on their show before, which was most excellent. Awesome. So we have Angel with us.
Yay.
Yay.
The angel has landed.
All right. So returning the gesture for more good conversation, right? We're going to discuss.
I absolutely loved having you all join Riscalla and I. It was a learning experience as well as fun.
Yes, and we are so glad that we can bring you to our show and for more of the same. And,
I'm ready.
So the plan is we're going to discuss spirituality behind the fight for good against evil. We're going to talk about some of the good things which can be done to help out the greater good. There's a lot of things we're going to talk about. I even have the list of conspiracies here, and it's a long one. You'd be surprised. You guys,
we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Right, exactly.
In this case, instead of it being a rabbit hole of information, it's going to be a black hole of endless information.
I agree. There's so much out there, and it's so much fun to share it with people that are just as inquisitive as I am, because we want the truth.
Right. So we usually ask our first-time guests to tell us a little bit about themselves. So I think in this case, perhaps let's start with your awakenings, your aha moment when you realize that things are way different than we were taught in school, and how that started your journey to where you both are today. Ladies, go first.
Yeah, sure. Angel.
Well, I was raised by parents that were extremely loving, but extremely strict. And my father, who was a police officer, ended up going to law school to be a state attorney. So I did what every child shouldn't do. When my father said, "Don't ever look in my case files," I looked. And when I saw the cases that he was handling, you can just imagine, as a state attorney, he had some very dramatic cases of abuse. I could not believe my own eyes as a little kid, and I questioned and I cried, and I only did it a couple times before I confronted my father and said, what are these people? Why would they do this? And that started my journey of trying to understand the biblical text and the Torah, because I was raised to choose my religion because I was Jewish, but they also offered me to go to a Catholic school because that was the only school that had really a good parochial teaching.
Right.
So that started my journey. I wanted to understand God. I never gave up on God, but I wanted to understand the people that he let run around this planet. And it's taken me to 70 countries, and I learn everything new every day, something new, not everything, but something. And it's from people like you and Jennifer Riscalla, Michael Vera, all of us, and the listeners too. I know that you two are familiar, and Riscalla, of course, that some of the questions that are posed to us by listeners or watchers of our shows, they hit us with such questions that we have to dig deeper, and that's what I've always done.
Right. And not everybody's willing to do that. But I'm glad that there are people out there that are.
No, I want to know. And my journey ended up going from stateside, and like I said, to all these countries, and then actually living and working in Israel, working in the artifacts, parts of the antiquities department, going through scrolls and pottery and every kind of thing that you could imagine, trying to piece this puzzle together. And I got to work with physicists from MIT back in the States and in Israel, people that had done Aliyah to move to Israel, that welcomed me after a lot of fighting. They welcomed me in their circle, and I continued to learn from them. So I've had an interesting life. It's been very, very interesting.
How about you, Riscalla?
The beginning of my awakening was 9/11. I was I remember being on the phone with my brother. I called him on my way to the office, and I said, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm leaving the house." I said, "Don't leave, go back inside." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Don't argue with me." And we never talk like that to each other, ever. And I said, "Don't argue with me. Go back inside, turn the TV on right now." And he went inside, turned the TV on. Of course, he saw what everybody else was seeing. And I was just pulling into the office, and I had a little TV in the office, and I was watching it, and he was watching it. And as the buildings came apart, I kept saying to him, "Look at that. It doesn't look right." And he kept saying, "What do you mean it doesn't look right?" I said, "It's just not what I expected, that the buildings would just almost vanish, like they were gone." So that gnawed at me. And then something was burning inside of me, and I couldn't put this fire out. And I kept looking at what was going on with 9/11 and how there was still fires going on. 8 weeks later, there's still fires underground burning, and none of that and everything that they said didn't make any sense to me. And I kept digging and digging and digging. And one night I was on a government site, and I stumbled across a document, and I can't remember the name of the document. It was regarding the Gulf of Tonkin. The Gulf of Tonkin is what started the Vietnam War. And this document basically said that the whole thing was created by people on our side. In other words, people within our government started this war and said that the Vietnamese had attacked one of our ships in the Gulf of Tonkin, when that's not what happened. We just needed a war to go to, and that was my aha moment. That was my awakening. I don't remember the date, but I do remember the day. It was a Saturday. The reason I remember is because my son was bowling that night. He usually comes home around midnight, so it had to be around midnight, maybe 12:30. And he caught me at my desk crying unconsolably. And he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Just go away. Just go away." I just was trying to come to terms with what I read. What I read said that my friends who fought for this country and shed their blood died in vain. And it was a difficult time for me. My whole world unraveled. It was something that was the last thing in the world I ever had expected to find. So from that point forward, what the government had taught me when I was in the military, my official title was Item Research Specialist. I had a secret security clearance. And my job was, they would come to me that they needed parts for these jets. I would look up in the technical orders or the manuals or the service manuals, as some people might know it. And I would find the parts, and then I would very quickly, within a span of about 45 minutes, I would be able to determine whether that part was on base, whether that part was in town, or where that part was at one of our major storage facilities. So the government taught me how to reference, how to cross-reference, and how to research items and look in different areas to derive an answer that is the majority of the time accurate, very accurate. So having that background and this gnawing feeling, this fire that was going on inside of me would not go out, it has not gone out to this day, refusing to remain silent, then witnessing what happened with Afghanistan, witnessing what happened with Iraq, witnessing what happened with Yemen, witnessing what happened with Libya, watching this cookie cutter, if you will, excuses for going to war when they're really just excuses. There's no justification for us to be in any of these wars right now. None, zero. And learning that early on, I can't believe it's 18 years ago. Seems like yesterday. Learning that early on has caused me to be a constant, vigilant person looking for the answers. And when I run across somebody like Angel, who has a vast background of all kinds of information, that is like I don't even want to call it a gem. It's priceless. The amount of information that a person like this has and the willingness of them to share with others is what continues to drive me. People like you and Jennifer. Your willingness to share your information with others is what inspires me to continue doing what I'm doing, because there's a lot of people out there that don't want us to do what we're doing. And so for me, the aha moment was February of 2002, somewhere around midnight, learning that the Vietnam War was started all about a lie, and that my friends who fought diligently, believing that, and I was one of them, believing that we were fighting for our freedom, we're only fighting for corporations. And a lot of what I was told